Hey guys, it's Dave, and this is our first ever Everyday Rants podcast. It is January 2016, and this is our first podcast, and I'm really excited to be doing this. This is something that I looked into and wanted to do for a while, but just didn't know what to do, how to work it. And then my buddy over on YouTube, The Word of Yaga, I'll give him a shout out. Matt over there started his podcast a couple weeks ago. And I was like, genius. So, I reached out to him and asked him a few questions, and we're going to be doing our own. So, again, this is Everyday Rants. I'm Dave from Everyday Geek, the YouTube channel that I do with my daughter and my cousin Anthony. And basically, and bear with me here, the equipment's going to get a lot better. There's a lot of stuff that we need for the channel and for this podcast. But, everything costs money and everything, so we have to take stuff bit by bit here, so just working with what we have. But basically, I just wanted to introduce what Everyday Rants is going to be. It's just going to be a basic podcast where I'm going to talk with you guys, and it's going to be raw, uncensored, uncut, and I'm going to just talk about the things I want to talk about, and hopefully you guys enjoy it. I will try to have some guests on as well as this thing grows, but right now it's just going to be you and I. So to give you a background on podcasts and radio and stuff like that, I am a big fan of radio and podcasts. I do listen to a few podcasts. Some of them are, I listen to Artie Lang's podcasts. I listen to Al Dukes, who works at WFAN, which is a sports radio station here in New York. And I listen to some wrestling podcasts as well. I listen to the Taz podcast, the Stone Cold Steve Austin podcast. I tried listening to the Jim Ross Report podcast, but I don't know. That one's iffy. And then radio-wise, I'm a huge Howard Stern fan. I've been listening to Howard since 1996. So I was I was 16 in high school, and I still love him. Still listen to him today. So if you do see any of that type of influences coming out on me, you'll know where they're coming from. And regarding, I'm going to be talking a lot of sports too. And sports guys, I'll just let you know that I listen to Boomer Esiason and Craig Carton in the mornings here on WFAN in New York. I listen to Joe and Evan in the afternoon. And I was a big Mike and the Mad Dog fan. I don't really listen to Mike Francesa anymore, just because, I don't know. He seems to be a little annoying once in a while, a little full of himself. That's just me. I still like him, but I can't listen to a show by himself. I do listen to Mad Dog Chris Russo, and I watch him on the MLB Network, where he does his show High Heat. So that'll be some of the influences you see there as well when we get into sports. So really, I just wanted to talk about a couple things. The kids went back to school today. Kids meaning Lauren. She was on winter break. That just ended this morning. And, don't get me wrong. I love my kids. I love Lauren and Ash. But wow. I mean, anybody that has kids knows that when you say you're on vacation or you're on a break or whatever, there is no vacation or rest with kids. It is nonstop, constant. And when today started, I could not wait to get Lauren on her bus and get Ashley over to daycare. Needed some peace and quiet. It's just crazy. It's just crazy with them, speaking for me, with my two, I love my kids. I mean, when they're alone, they are perfect. They act perfectly. But man, when they come together, it is like fire and ice. Fire and ice. I mean, they do not get along. They constantly fight and bicker. I don't know why. Maybe it's the age difference. I have no clue. Lauren's 7. She'll be 8 in April. Ashley just turned 3 at the end of August. So, she's still coming to her own, learning stuff, figuring stuff out. And then, then there's Lauren, who's already set in her ways and got her stuff. So it's constant bickering and fighting and arguing. I mean, I love them, but when they have to go back to school, believe me, I'm not crying over here. especially since I work from home. So, getting stuff done when they're here with me is not happening. So when they go and they get to do what they got to do, I get to do what I got to do. So that's cool. But yeah, so the holidays are over. Christmas was good. Christmas was good. Um, got some cool stuff. I got some clothes. Got some. The funny thing is doing the Everyday Geek YouTube channel. Surprisingly, no one got me like Funko Pops or mystery minis or anything like that, which, honestly, I'm perfectly fine with because I don't want people buying my stuff. I like to buy my own stuff. I like to check the boxes on these things, check the paint job. Plus, no one knows what I really like. And, for me, it seems like most of my family and friends don't even watch our channel, which is baffling and kind of irritating at the same time. And I know there's some that watch it, but majority of the family and friends and I have they don't watch it. I don't know. Whatever. But so Christmas was good. Kids had a good one. We got them a couple. Got Lauren her own tablet because she's constantly wanting mine or my wife's. So we got her a tablet and some other little stuff, some other stuff. Ashley, her big thing was we got her a tablet. It was a Leapster, I think it's called. But of course, she plays with that at her daycare, loves it. We get it for her. She still wants my wife's tablet. So, that kind of didn't work out as well as we planned. But yeah, so Christmas is over. New Year's, we were over at my buddy's house, John and Lisa, over in Pennsylvania. It was quiet. It was just us, the kids, hanging out, playing. It was cool. It was cool. Got some cool little some pranks and footage I played on my buddy John, so that'll be up on our channel hopefully sometime this week. But 2016, looking for some stuff, man. We're starting to look for a house. Hopefully by next fall. I like to be in a house. Not sure where yet. We would like to stay in the area we are in New York. We don't really want to venture out, but with taxes and just everything being so expensive here in New York, we have thought about and entertained leaving New York State. Both my wife and I are born and raised in New York on Long Island. So, we'll see. We'll see. But other stuff for 2016, I really want to, Lauren and I and Anthony want to, grow the Everyday Geek, Everyday Pulse stuff some more. We really enjoy doing it. I really do enjoy doing the Everyday Geek channel with Lauren. And how that came about, it's funny. Last holiday season, 2014, Lauren and I were watching a lot of YouTubers, specifically because I was getting into the Loot Crate and the Nerd Block area, and I was doing a lot of research, seeing which one I wanted to get, seeing which ones had the better boxes, and I was doing some research, and after the new year of 2015, right after after Christmas, right around New Year 2015, I said to Lauren, I think I'm gonna get Horror Block and Loot Crate, and she said that's cool. Then she looked at me and said, "How about we do our own channel?" And a light bulb went off, and I remember my cousin Anthony. I know we trained for wrestling. We wrestled a lot back in the day. We hung out a lot. Kept in touch, through cell phones and Facebook over the years. But I remember him going to school for that and doing some short films and stuff like that. So I was like, you know what? All right, I reached out to him and said, hey, Ant, you want to do a YouTube channel? And, within seconds, he was like, absolutely. So, how they say, the rest is history. We started in March. We're going pretty good, having a lot of fun with it. But I really enjoy it because it gives Lauren and I a lot of bonding time, which I feel like this is stuff that, some people might be like, oh, you're putting your kid on camera and stuff like that. First off, whatever. It's my kid. If she wants to do it, she's going to do it. Second, I look at it like it's more of documentation. This is stuff that they could document, and they're always going to have. And, I grew up, I was born in 1980, so I grew up in the 80s and 90s, and I do feel like we had the best of both worlds. We had before technology and then we had after technology. We know how to live without it, and we appreciate what we have in technology. And I feel like I didn't have this stuff when I was a kid. I would have loved to have had a YouTube channel when I was a kid, or just had, my parents weren't big into a video camera. We didn't have video cameras. They were those big, clunky, expensive things. We didn't have that. I would love to have had all this tape of me to see what I looked like, what I sounded like when I was younger, what I was into. No, I don't have that. I have some pictures, not a lot, because back in those days, you had to buy film and develop film and keep the pictures in a photo album. Not anymore. My kids have their whole lives documented, saved on a hard drive, and through Carbonite. So everything's saved. We don't have that, and I think this is cool too, because not only is it a bonding thing for Lauren and now Ashley too, getting into it a little bit more. It's documented for them to always look back on, and in the future, God forbid, who knows what happens, it'll be stuff for them to remember me as well, which is pretty cool. So I like that, and that's some 2016 plans. Is number one is love to get a house. Number two, want to see Everyday Geek and the Everyday Rants now podcast. I'd like to see it grow even more, which would be awesome. But I'm really into this whole YouTube thing. Really, really getting into it. I really met a lot of cool people, new relationships. It's great. It's a great community. Everybody supports each other, which I think is good. It's not competition. It's support. I mean, I don't look at any of the other YouTubers that I do similar stuff with as competition. I look at it as YouTube buddies. Like, hey, you're doing that, I'm doing this. That's awesome. Look what you got. Look what I got. Whatever. Subscribership is going to go up, down, whatever, for everybody over time, I hope. And I do like doing this thing. It's pretty cool, and that's what we're looking for in 2016. Now, ringing out 2015. 2015 was an okay year. It wasn't bad. Like I said, we started the channel. Otherwise, on the positive stuff, just being alive, man, that's awesome. I had a health scare in mid 2015. Just had some physical work done, and they had found some polyps, which luckily, knock on wood, weren't cancerous or anything. But they found some stuff in my gallbladder, which I had to have removed in the beginning of June of 2015. So if anybody does subscribe to our channel, if you remember or look back, you'll notice it was about a week or two of nothing going on in our channel for that time frame. That's because I was up, had surgery and was recovering. And that was a little scary, because I'm a person, knock on wood. I've never broken a bone. I've never had surgery before up until this past summer. So I was super nervous, very nervous. I didn't know how I was going to react to the drugs and everything. And luckily, healed perfectly. Did what I had to do. Now, just trying to get in shape again. I lost a bunch of weight, lost about 40 pounds over the summer. Then just gained it back, in August. August, September, those months. Gained a lot of it back, and now just getting back on that horse and eating right, getting to the gym. Got to lose weight, not just for me, but I got kids now and stuff. I gotta think about. So it's getting healthy again. That's it. So that's my 2016 goals. Getting healthy, getting a house, and growing this awesome thing we do here on YouTube, which I love. Yeah, so, before the holidays, I checked out Star Wars, The Force Awakens, and I'll give you my thoughts. I absolutely loved it. I thought it was, oh man, I thought it was phenomenal. What J.J. Abrams did, what he's done with Star Trek, and what he's now done with Star Wars, I mean, he revitalized a genre that kind of was never going to die, but I mean, George Lucas did a pretty good job at trying to kill it with those prequels. Those prequels were not good. And I can say a little bit more affirmative. I just watched last week. Lauren wants to see the new Star Wars movie, but she hasn't seen any. So I wanted her to watch, them before she sees the new one. So we started with number one, Phantom Menace. And she liked it. She was into it. But I got to be honest. I mean, it was just so CGI and so much graphics, and that Jar Jar Binks. I wanted to strangle him again. He was driving me crazy. Uh, some of the characters in there were just stupid and useless, and I mean, you could see it was such a money grab by George Lucas. I mean, those first three he did, New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, classics, great movies. I mean, those three prequels, garbage, garbage. But this new one, Force Awakens, was fucking phenomenal. I mean, it was just awesome. I absolutely loved every minute of it. Every minute. The casting was perfect. I thought the Kylo Ren character was awesome. And that dude, I think, was it Adam Driver? Is that his name? I thought he was just great as Kylo Ren. I loved the whole. I don't want to get into too many spoilers. I don't know who's seen it or who hasn't, so I don't want to give any spoilers. But Kylo Ren was great. I think they could have done more with Captain Phasma. Um, I was a little disappointed that they didn't use her as much as I thought they were going to. But there's more movies coming, so maybe she'll have bigger roles then. That sometimes happens. Look at Avengers 1 with Hawkeye. Then all of a sudden the whole second movie was about Hawkeye. But just a great movie. Finn was casted great, great actor. Rey was great. Seeing Han Solo and Chewbacca and Princess Leia. Oh my God, that was awesome. I mean, gave me goosebumps. Reminded me of being a kid and watching these things. And just a great movie. I thought it was phenomenal. I can't wait. I know some people are, you got a few people that are, the whole sequence at the end, tying it back to A New Hope. Whatever. It was a great movie. Just shut up and enjoy it. It was awesome. I loved it. I loved it. Good movie. I give it a huge thumbs up, 2 thumbs up. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. If you're into the Star Wars movies, if you haven't watched Star Wars, you got to go check those movies out. They are phenomenal. And this Force Awakens is great. I was ready for episode 8 to start. I could have sat there for another 2.5 hours and checked out another one. That's how into it I was. And even BB-8, who I thought was going to be just obnoxious, like a Jar Jar, BB-8 was perfect. Such a cute little character. Really, really worked well with what they were doing. And I mean, hats off to J.J. Abrams. I mean, if this is how he can reboot and make people interested in series that people thought were dead, like Star Trek, like Star Wars, and bravo to Disney. What a great investment they made with buying Lucasfilms and buying these out, because they just, with merchandise alone, they're making a killing. And now with this, and then the expansions and the rides they're going to have at the parks with this, I can't wait. Being a huge Disney fan, I cannot wait. But knowing what JJ can do now with movies and rebooting them, I got a few I would love to see him get a hand on and reboot, like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I know the second one still hasn't even come out, but that Michael Bay one, that first one was, come on. If you're a true 80s, 90s Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle cartoon fan, you couldn't have liked those. I hated them. The second one I'm going to check out, because I'm a sucker. I check these things out. I am curious to see finally having Bebop and Rocksteady on the big screen, but I'd love to see J.J. Abrams get his hands on that. What else? What else can he revitalize, maybe, if he got his hands on, that's been destroyed by Hollywood? Oh, I'm sure there's other ones, but, I think, in JJ we trust. And I feel, maybe let JJ do the Fantastic Four. There you go. There's a guy I think who pull off a perfect Fantastic Four movie. Of course, give it back to Marvel, the MCU. Give it back to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Get Fox out of it. Let Fox handle X-Men. That's what that's what they seem to be good at. Let them have it. X-Men, give everything back, and let JJ reboot that Fantastic Four. I think he could do a phenomenal job with that. But yeah, Star Wars was a great movie. Go check it out. And then really, last thing I'll talk about on this one is sports. I'm a big sports fan, and we'll talk a little NFL since the NFL season just wrapped up this weekend. I am a New York Giants fan, so as you could tell, I'm not particularly too happy with how the season went. They had so many opportunities to grasp that division. They just couldn't do it. They lost so many games in the last minute and a half, 2 minutes. It was just unbelievable. And, do I blame Tom Coughlin? Do I fire Tom Coughlin because of this year? No, I don't. I don't think it was Tom Coughlin's fault. Tom Coughlin is a really, really good coach. He's taken us to 2 Super Bowls. I mean, in my lifetime, I've witnessed 4 New York Giants Super Bowls. I mean, there are not a lot of people that could say they've seen their team win that many Super Bowls. I mean, me as a sports fan in general, being a fan of the teams I am, I've seen a lot of championships. But Tom Coughlin should not be fired for this. I would be really disappointed if he was. It's not his fault that the defense couldn't stop anybody in that last minute and a half, 2 minutes of probably it seemed like half the year. It's not Tom Coughlin's fault that people were dropping passes from Eli. So there's always got to be a scapegoat, someone to blame, and unfortunately, it's usually the manager. And do I blame the GM? Yes. But again, how do you fire a GM and not fire the coach? So they go hand in hand, unfortunately, for Tom. But we'll see here in the New York area. Nothing's been announced yet. So we'll see what goes on with Tom and the future of the Giants. And then we got the counterpart here in New York, the New York Jets. They didn't make it as well. I mean, you got to be kidding me. The fact that Rex Ryan, not even managing them, is still screwing the New York Jets. I mean, he took his Buffalo Bills. They went, they beat the Jets. Cleveland lost to Pittsburgh. So the Jets are eliminated from the playoff as well. So just like the New York Giants, we are both looking in from the outside, getting ready to play some golf, get on the green. Oh, man. Rex Ryan, I mean, how crazy is it that it comes down to that last game of the season that they needed to beat the Bills? And the Bills coach is Rex Ryan. Wow. Can't play it better than that, guys. You can't plan it better than that. So the season wrapped up, and we got Wild Card Weekend coming up, and it's going to be Kansas City Chiefs at the Houston Texans. We're going to have the Pittsburgh Steelers at the Cincinnati Bengals. We're going to have Seattle Seahawks at Minnesota Vikings, and the Green Bay Packers at the Washington Redskins. I think the Kansas City and the Pittsburgh games, I think those are Saturday games, so let's start with those. I'm gonna go Texans over Kansas City. Not sure why. I'm going with Texans. The home team, and I think they'll pull it out. I think they'll pull it out over the Kansas City Chiefs. Pittsburgh, Cincinnati. Now, I'm going Cincinnati, and the reason why I'm doing this is, one, they're the home team. 2, if they get Andy Dalton back, that's going to be the big thing. If they get Andy Dalton back, I don't think Pittsburgh's going to be able to beat them. If they don't, then it's a toss-up. But if I had to pick, I'm going Cincinnati because I think Dalton will be there. I think he'll be ready to play for the playoffs. Sunday's games, I think, are the Seattle, Minnesota, and the Green Bay, Washington, I think. But anyway, I'm going to go with Minnesota and Seattle. I'm going to go Minnesota. I just don't know if Seattle has enough like they did the last 2 years in the tank to pull it off again. And Minnesota's been playing very well. I've liked the way Minnesota has been playing. So I'm going to go Minnesota. And then Green Bay, Washington, that's the one I think is going to be the upset for the home team. I think Green Bay is going to go into Washington and beat Washington. I'm not a big Washington fan. Is it because I'm a Giants fan? Maybe. But I just don't think Washington, that was a weak division. Actually, it was probably the worst division in all of football. So I think Washington kind of skated by on just being the best mediocre team in the division. I think Green Bay will go in there. They will beat them. What Green Bay does after that, I don't know, because Green Bay hasn't looked great either. They do have Rodgers, though. So, there's always that. So those are my predictions for the Wild Card Weekend. I'm going Texans over Kansas City, Cincinnati over Pittsburgh, Minnesota over Seattle, and Green Bay over Washington. Hey, guys, I want to say thank you so much for listening to our first podcast, Everyday Rants. Hopefully come back for more. We're going to be doing this a lot. I'm big into this. I like this. I like the fact that you don't have to watch it. You can go do what you want to do on your computer. You can walk around your house while you're listening to my beautiful voice serenade you. Just kidding, guys. But, thanks. We really do appreciate everything that you guys have been doing, subscribing and commenting and liking and sharing and following us on Facebook and following us on Twitter and, following us on Instagram. We appreciate all this. We love you all. This has been fun. And we'll catch you on episode 2. But thanks again, guys. Adios.